welcome back. This is episode 27 of the Can You Geek podcast. My name is Steve. Errane is here somewhere, still taking shots at me.
Here, just I don't want to follow your Canadian regime socialist lifestyle. All right.
And Sid is laughing, listening to us as usual.
Oh, yeah, I'm dying in the background. A little more each time.
So I want to apologize for missing another week. We just, again, life hit all of us and we just weren't able to find a time to record. So unfortunately, that's the way it works when we're all parents and all have crazy amounts of life going on. So I apologize now for all of us.
You're sorry.
And I am very sorry, eh?
That's
Gotta
a
get the
big withdrawal
the Canadian
from
sorry
the
out of the way.
account to apologize for all of us. There's some things
I know.
that I've done that you just don't know what you're apologizing for.
I know, right?
I don't, but that's
I wasn't
okay.
going to say it. Ugh.
So while we're waiting for Errane to catch up on show information that I sent out, our first topic today is the episode 9 trailer, the final trailer. So what did you think, Sid?
I am excited.
I'm very
really
excited as well.
Like it was awesome.
So devil's advocate, did you think it was trying to play a little too much fan service in they're kind of just giving exactly what people have wanted? Like people have always been like, raise this untapped power, but she never trains. So one of the first things they show is her training randomly.
Yeah, and then I think they also tried to play to nostalgia too, because I mean, I'm pretty sure I even saw Lando in there at one point.
Yes, Lando's in there.
Yeah, Lando's in there.
And then there's like several shots of Chewie and C-3PO and R2, and I do think they are playing to nostalgia and the fan base.
Yes. Some of the rumors swirling around C-3PO and the red eyes from the trailer.
Marijuana.
It's totally marijuana, but there's actually apparently a very severe reason behind it that's going to mess a lot of people up.
Wasn't your original predictions that Palpatine was able to possess him?
Yes, I think it was. So
I'm down with that theory. Let's do that.
Yes. So being that you just watched it right now, Errane, while we were talking, what do you think?
Oh, I mean, I'm not going to lie. Without going to my Peter tingle was very active. Here's the thing. I don't know if I was watching Star Wars or a potential Lord of the Rings crossover, because they're all on horses essentially, and they're gonna ride into the sunset. I don't know. It looks good. So you asked Sid about fan service, devil's advocate. Okay, so here's some things that I'm just gonna say right now. I stand true to The Last Jedi was not a bad movie. I stand true to bringing J.J. Abrams on in general was a fan service move by Disney. I feel like a lot of things they're going to do is going to be against Rian Johnson. It looks like they're just playing that fan service fiddle. I'm not sure that's a bad thing. I think that if they do too much, that is counter The Last Jedi. If they try to pretend that we went from The Force Awakens to The Last Skywalker, right? That's the name of this one. If they try to pretend
Rise of the Skywalker.
Thank you. Rise of Skywalker. If they try to pretend that that's the evolution and kind of leave The Last Jedi out, I'm going to be upset. If they are just going to undo things that he did. He didn't make a bad movie. I think Star Wars has always been about a couple things, about campiness and about pushing the bounds. And I think that too many people, and I might get hated on for this, that's fine. I think too many people expect so much and forget that Lucas was just a guy trying to make an epic, like campy kind of film. And I think that Rian Johnson just took some shots, and some people didn't like it. That's fair, but I don't think that it deserves the hate that it got. I think J.J. Abrams is going to be a people pleaser. If you look at The Force Awakens, the biggest criticism it has, it was just A New Hope. He just created a bigger, badder Death Star with a similar story of crazy antics. I had a discussion, and I don't mean to go on a rant, but I'm going to. So
whenever I ask your opinion, I expect a rant. So
yeah,
that's
so
fair.
here's what happened. I had a discussion with this guy, Will. He's in my English class, and he's an older guy, not older than me, but I mean like older than some of the students I talk to. And he had an interesting perspective that I thought was unique to what you and I, Steve, had heard. And since Sid, you've listened, I know you weren't a part of the show yet, but you listened to all of our our trilogy that we did. And when we went episode, I think it was 14, because I think that was the last one, or no, 10, 11, 12, 12, sorry, 12. Episode 12, when we talk about 7, 8, and the 9 trailer that we had at the time, we discussed the many reasons, the many criticisms that were had about The Last Jedi. He brought up one that, Steve, you and I hadn't discussed, because really nobody had brought that up to us, and it was that they had no stakes at the end of The Last Jedi. If you think about The Last Jedi and how it ended, the Resistance took a hard blow. Rey was super powerful, saved them all, got them all out. Nobody's really, I mean, Phasma, right? Phasma's dead. Finn and Rose escape. They make it to the Resistance base where Poe and, you know what I mean? Everybody makes it out happy, and Luke ascends. And really, in the end, what we're left with is just, yeah, sure. Kylo is now like kind of the supreme leader of the First Order, but we have no stakes at the end of 7 or 8, sorry. And that was an interesting thought, because if you think about Empire, which is arguably the best movie in the Star Wars story, right? And by arguably, I mean, of course there's people who don't feel the same, but I think that if you ask the general Star Wars fan, base, you're going to get Empire was the best. What did Empire end with? Empire ended with Luke losing his hand in critical shape, right? When they saved him from, I think it was Cloud City, right? Because he had gone to, you started with the Battle of Hoth, but he was, he had to train. And then he went back to save his friends from the trap. But Boba Fett did capture Han Solo, who was a very main character in the story. So when we start in Jedi, Return of the Jedi starts with Luke going to Jabba the Hutt and trying to save Han. Like, that's how it starts. It starts right in the middle of action of what, the stakes they were at the end of Empire. If you look at the clone, what's episode 2 called, Steve? Sid, you guys know?
I don't remember.
Attack of the Clones? I think it's Attack of the Clones. So if you look at episode 2, how does episode 2 end? Well, episode 2 ends with the battle, right? But isn't, episode 2 is when they have a victory over the droids. So everything's kind of, if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, but Dooku fights Yoda after he defeats Obi-Wan and Anakin. Yoda fights Dooku, essentially wins. Dooku leaves, he escapes. The droid army loses because the clones come in, and it's a victory march. So if you look at the problem that Rian Johnson did, because if you look at the series, you look back at episodes 1, 2, and 3 now, and I think episode 2 is possibly my favorite. It might be episode 3. It's not the Phantom Menace. You know what I mean? It's either 2 or 3, but that's in a trilogy. You look at Empire as a solo movie, and this was the argument that I had for him. I was like, yeah, The Last Jedi maybe as a solo movie has a nice, pretty ending, but I think as a trilogy, it will be stronger. but it was a nice counter argument. So anyway, I know that was a ridiculously long rant about it, but honestly, like that's how I feel. Like it was a very interesting response that the problem with The Last Jedi that he had is that it ended happily. They didn't have a response. And if you think about episodes 1, 2, and 3, which had some of the most negative controversy because of the way they were done, maybe Rian Johnson going that route was part of the problem because everybody kind of escapes. Like there is sadness in the movie, but there's sadness in Attack of the Clones as well, but it ends happily. So anyway, that's I think that this looks good. I think J.J. Abrams is going to do fan service. I just think that's the way it is. He remade A New Hope. He's probably just going to make Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and everybody's going to be happy with it, and we're all going to be good. Like they're going to take the ring to Mordor, which is going to be on Hoth, and because for some reason there's a big volcano, Mount Doom's on the middle of an icy planet. I don't know. They're going to destroy the one lightsaber, and Darth Vader's going to come out from the dead, and he's going to be like, "That's my precious," and he's going to want the lightsaber back, and Kylo Ren's going to have to
Should we stop him
defeat
now?
him, and then
No, my worry is it's too much fan service. I'm hoping they continue on because, like you, I had no problem with Last Jedi. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people remember. I actually watched a video of one of, I don't know if it was Den of Geek or another nerd YouTube video. He had said that he hadn't watched The Last Jedi after a while because he really enjoyed The Last Jedi initially, but then people kept ripping it down, and then he talked to somebody, and the person reminded him of how silly the original trilogy truly was, and things like Chewbacca picking up the parts of C-3PO and carrying it on his back, and how silly Yoda was in the training on Dagobah. Like there's like because it's like Luke goes there to get trained by this master, and you expect him to be this super powerful, all-knowing dude, and he's like hitting C-3PO with a stick. And so it's like
you mean R2D2?
Or R2D2, yes, sorry. I have C-3PO on my mind from the new trailer. And so it's just the silliness is still there in The Last Jedi as well as it was in the original trailer. And so a lot of people forget that these movies are made for children. They truly are. And we're remembering it from the impression of a child because most of us watched it as children and have that nostalgia feeling attached to it. And it was a really good 5-minute rant he did. He did the dark side of the trailer versus the good, ranted about how good it was, and then he went off on how bad it was, and then did the both side thing. And it was a really well done video. It just reminded me of parts from the original trilogy that it was interesting. So no, I hope they don't go too fan servicey. So I had some surprises for you. Well, one surprise, which I don't know if you picked up in the trailer. Did you notice a rather famous ship in the trailer?
I'm not gonna lie, I intend to watch it again. I just kind of did a quick watch. I could barely even hear it because I was trying to make sure I could hear you guys, so I didn't watch it in full. I did watch it in full, but I mean,
it's in the background.
I'm gonna assume it's Slave One.
No, it's Ghost. From I think it's Clone Wars as well as Rebels, and has been in Rogue One. They show Ghost in this trailer. So with that, there has been 2 leaks / rumors that have come out. One regarding Mandalorian, one regarding Episode 9, that actually are pertaining to the same character appearing in both things. So in The Mandalorian, there's a character that's going to appear that will also be in Episode 9. Somebody that I think you are probably going to die if it shows up, Errane. And so I wanted to get your opinion on them doing it. Rumor is Ahsoka Tano is going to appear in live action finally.
What?
If Ahsoka Tano shows up in Episode 9, it will be my second favorite.
Aaron's gonna
It'll be
scream.
my second favorite Star Wars movie of all time. That is fan service. I'll take it. I have no shame in saying it.
I can hear his reaction right now. Oh
That's
It's so good.
Yeah.
the insides. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Sid's accurate. I don't want to get my hopes up, so rumors are rumors.
Yeah, I wasn't either, but so the
That's a
rumor
good rumor.
started. It's a really good rumor. It started with The Mandalorian. There was somebody leaked that they saw a dual wielding Jedi on set.
Well, there's not a lot
And
of
people
them.
were like,
So,
So people were going through trying to figure out who it was, and I guess in the leak it had said that it was a female dual wielding, and so everybody's like, it's got to be Ahsoka Tano. There's nobody else.
let's go back to your theory then, and some things you talked about in our trilogy episode about Emperor Palpatine kind of having a creation involvement with Anakin.
Yes.
Okay, we're talking about the rise of Skywalker, right? There are few characters that have had an influence in the Skywalker bloodline, as close as like someone like Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? Or Yoda, right? So like Obi-Wan and Anakin, I mean that's a thing, right? And then Obi-Wan obviously to Luke in the original trilogy. So like Obi-Wan's had that connection. Ahsoka Tano is the closest to a like sibling or family member I think Anakin's ever had outside of his mother and Obi-Wan. I think that with everything that has to do with how Kylo is, with his obsession on Vader, and with Emperor Palpatine's voice being in Star Wars in Episode 9 and no idea how they're going to contribute to that, I think Ahsoka Tano would be an excellent add-in. I would be curious to see what they're doing with that because
So the rumor that I read, or the leak, was that there's a new character going to be introduced, played by, I think it's Kerry Russell, who is actually one of Poe's longtime friends, and gets introduced as like a masked, almost. The mask is very interesting. I think you see it briefly in one of the trailers. It's the gold masked person. She is. It almost reminded me kind of Luke's like bounty hunter, or not Luke's, Leia's bounty hunter outfit
Yep.
that she wears.
the one she wears in Return of the
Okay, yeah.
Jedi.
Yeah, that Leia wears in Return to try and
Han,
get
yep.
Han. Yeah. And it's kind of, to me, it reminded me kind of that, but the rumor is that underneath that, possibly Kerry Russell's character is actually Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah, because she'd be older at this point.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, because really she should be older than Luke. Again, we don't know how her race ages, because I don't think they touched on that in any of the cartoons. So, because some people just like look at Yoda, he looked the same no matter how old he was.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure. But I mean, yeah, I would assume that the way they're going to play it is that she ages slower. I mean, she was young when she was with Anakin in Clone Wars.
Yeah, she was supposed to
Yeah,
be what,
basically,
late teens,
yep.
early 20s,
Yeah, and then when she shows
roughly?
up in
Yeah.
Rebels as Fulcrum / Ahsoka Tano, she's a lot older. But in Rebels, I think,
You would assume that she's supposed to be really old.
well, that's the thing. Then that's in Rebels, and I don't know where the timeline for Rebels is. But you know, it would be interesting. I don't know. I would get giddy. I'm not gonna lie, especially if that also transfers over to the Mandalorian. I would really like to see that.
The Mandalorian one to me sounds more realistic because of the timing of it. Like, it's supposed to take place in a time where she should theoretically still be
Around.
existing for sure. Yeah.
Well, because what Mandalorian's right
So-
after The Last Jedi, right? Yeah. So that's definitely plausible. But again, a lot of these other alien races, as far as age, and like Disney really hasn't had to give a lot of answers on that, and I don't think they do in Clone Wars or Rebels. I could be wrong. I'd have to rewatch them, which I'll be gladly doing when November 12th comes. Or I actually own.
2.5
I own all of
weeks.
Clone Wars on Blu-ray, but I don't own all of Rebels. I think I only have the first 2 or 3 seasons on Blu-ray. But I just, I mean, I'm sure I could get on Wikipedia or something, or Wikipedia, and find the answer. It's just the thing with it is I'd be all for it. I would lose my mind. I mean, honestly, it would be a super cool thing. I've always wanted to see Ahsoka Tano on the big screen. It would be. I mean, she's my second favorite, possibly tied for my first favorite character in Star Wars, with Boba Fett. I love Ahsoka Tano. Her character is amazing. She's been through so much. I'm excited. I'm so excited. Just there's so many things. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That's why I wanted to bring it up. That's why I wanted to keep it a secret.
No,
I didn't put it in the
I'm
show
so
notes. It was just
stoked.
2
Yeah.
leaks.
I'm trying to keep calm here.
Yeah. So the next thing that I was going to bring up was Kevin Feige's promotion.
Oh yeah. It's a hell of a promotion too.
Yeah. So if you didn't read it, Errane, and if somebody listening doesn't know, Kevin Feige has now been promoted to the chief creative officer of all of Marvel. That's not just the MCU. That is MCU, comics, television, everything.
Wow.
He is now full-on creative overlord to everything Marvel,
He's made him enough money.
as well as being put in. He's made them enough money, and he's now in charge of at least one upcoming Star Wars movie. So
What's the word on Hawkeye?
They're probably knowing Disney the way that we all know Disney, they're probably going to recast him.
I don't know if they need to recast him. I think they could just
let it go.
Just like still have the Hawkeye show, but just have it as full on whoever they choose to be the new Hawkeye. If they go full comic, that would be great. But have it just start as that new person, and then you could have flashbacks of somebody training her that doesn't have to be him.
True. However, I also still don't think we'll ever see Renner again.
If it comes out to be true, yeah, I think he'll just go to his music.
Well, even if it's not true, like the fact that he was just accused, Disney doesn't want any part of that. They never do.
They did bring James Gunn back, though. So I'm hoping they don't just, hey, he was accused of saying this stuff. And I know a lot of it came out in text messages that she shared, but so it was very one-sided and without context. And
yeah, that's never very good anyways.
And from all of the reports this is a very messy divorce happening. It's very, very messy. So I don't know. I have a feeling they just won't bring him back as Hawkeye, period. I think they'll just move on to the new Hawkeye, keep the Hawkeye show, and just, have her being trained by like a shadowy figure that is him, but not him. They could even scrap the Hawkeye show altogether, put another show in that spot, and just have the new Hawkeye show up, or just get rid of the Hawkeye character altogether. You don't need it for a Young Avengers.
Yeah. Errane has been strangely quiet.
Oh, I don't
No.
care what happens with Hawkeye. I don't care about
That's
Hawkeye.
fair.
I never have
Fair,
cared about
yeah.
Hawkeye. I don't care what happens to Renner or that character. I'm okay if it doesn't happen. I'm good with it.
I know. So one thing that has come out in the last, I want to say 24, 36 hours about Feige being new god of Marvel is Jeff Loeb. I want to say his name is Jeff Loeb. I could be wrong. I will correct it later if I am. He was in charge of Marvel TV. He has now stepped down and will be vacating his position within the next 30 days. And all of the Hulu shows that have not started have been canceled. So
that meant the Ghost Rider,
Ghost Rider show is canceled. The animated
Does that mean the Runaways won't continue?
that they don't know yet because the Runaways have been somewhat of a hit. So
I don't know how.
I don't know either, but apparently it's been getting good, semi-good views on Hulu, so they might keep it. Some interesting
I haven't
things.
even watched that.
I have never watched it either.
The second season's way better than the first. The first is very, very tough to get through, and the second season's better than
Which
the
was
first.
most of the Netflix shows too. Which is a good transition. Is apparently somebody high up at Marvel really liked Jessica Jones and Daredevil, the actors and actresses that played those roles, and so the rumor is they will continue to play those roles, but in now this new massive MCU universe. So
How do you not like the Punisher?
well, they just never mentioned the Punisher. The Punisher has the longest time to go until he's allowed to be used in the Marvel universe. This whole drop dead
because
thing
his
with
season was so recent.
yeah. So the rumor with that thing we talked about on a previous show was 2 years after they get canceled, they're allowed to be used. So, which works for, we're phase 5. Like that's when you start to bring in all these things. Like there's ways they can bring them in. I definitely think Jessica Jones, Daredevil, and the Punisher should be brought back 100%. I didn't hate the guy that played Luke Cage. I think the Luke Cage season 2 and 3 kind of went to hell in writing. Season 2 actually wasn't bad, but season 3 was hard to watch. And Iron Fist honestly got really good at the end of season 2, but then they canceled it. So I don't know. But I have a feeling they will recast Iron Fist completely and introduce him in Shang-Chi. I think that's a smart way to do it. I think they could totally bring in Luke Cage and drop him into something anywhere. Another thing that has come out with all of this is that apparently Sony is moving forward with the live-action multiverse, bringing back Garfield and using Tom Holland. So Tom Holland will play Spider-Man in both universes, is what has apparently been coming out. So
That'll be fun.
I think they could do it relatively easy, especially if they go multiverse style. They're already doing multiverse in the MCU. So it's very easy to say that Tom Holland is Spider-Man from a different universe in Venom. Like the whole Venomverse is just a different universe that they're not dealing with in Marvel. It's really easy to deal with. So, and I guess that'll transition us into our main topic for this episode, which is...
Way to get there,
I know,
Steve.
we're getting there slowly.
30 minutes later.
Yeah, a show that Sid has not watched yet, unfortunately. The Joker.
Honestly, I don't think I will until it comes out to be viewed on, Apple or something like that, because
It's fair. I know.
I'm not taking my son to a rated R movie.
No, and
Nor should
He
you.
likes red. He likes red. He likes Deadpool, but that doesn't mean I'm going to take him to Joker.
exactly. And
To clarify, this is not a spoiler.
yes,
so,
we're going to do
per se.
as best as we can to not spoil anything. Although you do know me, and I will maybe accidentally drop something because I'm a jerk of a Canadian. But
You're not going to hurt my feelings any.
It's gonna be more of a
If you
comparison
do.
of previous Jokers to this Joker and our thoughts, kind of on this Joker without spoiling. Is how I was envisioning it. Does that work for you, Aaron?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, just so you're aware, current profits for Joker is nearing, I want to say, $700 million. So it's doing very well.
Yeah. So that's great.
Yeah.
I
I think it deserves to do really well. I'll be honest. I really, really enjoyed the movie. It is not what you would expect from a superhero movie or like comic movie.
So when discussing favorite Jokers,
Yes.
Sid, you've got a bit of a disadvantage because you're missing one that's being argued for the best right now. But that might not matter to you. Who knows? But I think that still your input on the ones that exist and maybe your reasons will be beneficial. I know that how I feel and where I rank Jokers right now, and this is a subject that's near and dear to my heart because it gets brought up a lot, and it's tough to. It will be tough not to spoil something. I'm going to do my best to talk around it. And this isn't just for you, Sid, but just, for anybody listening. I don't intend to try to spoil the Joker movie. I don't want to do that because I think that it's too special to ruin.
Yeah.
But I think the majority of the criticisms out there kind of give any of the information that I might talk about. There's a bummer cast here that that I wish I knew more about, so that's kind of bad for me. Because I like him in Shameless. But we'll get to that. Yeah. So where do you want to start? Sid, do you want to kind of tell us about your Joker thoughts?
Like who my favorite Joker is?
Yeah, who are your favorite like Jokers? What Jokers do you like? Which ones do you not like? Which ones do you not know about? Like, I mean, obviously Joaquin Phoenix, his Joker isn't something you know about because you haven't seen the Joker. But maybe some of these others that are on this list we've got here, and it's good to have the same list because I had a different one pulled up. But it's good to talk about these and look, and the fact that I have to scroll down to pick one of my other favorites makes me sad. But, I think that it's reasonable to also say I haven't seen the rest of some of these other ones. So there's a lot here I haven't seen either. So you're not kind of alone on that.
Oh, I mean, I've only actually watched probably 4 of the different Jokers that were listed.
Okay, sweet. So of those 4.
So starting from the bottom, okay, one of the ones that I didn't really enjoy, but was in Suicide Squad was Jared Leto's. Was not my favorite at all.
Why?
But I think for what he was trying to do, I think he achieved his goal. As far as trying to portray somebody who's completely psychopathic.
That's a nicer
Psychotic.
criticism.
That's the word I want.
Than other people give him.
I agree.
I don't think he
was.
I agree with you. I'm sorry, I'm not meaning to cut you off.
Yeah, Steven, it's Sid's turn. So we'll give
I was just going to say...
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Don't give him
I was just going to...
I've got my thoughts written down.
He wants to pretend that everybody's equal and we should all get the same crap and all this other garbage. Just leave him out of it.
Shut up. It's because he's Canadian.
Exactly. We don't need that. We don't need that crap. Sid,
I was just going to say... I feel like he just wasn't given the proper screen time to truly showcase what his version of the Joker was. That's all I was going to say.
For what he was given, he did a decent job. Definitely not my favorite. And is actually probably my least favorite of the 4 that I've actually seen. Sorry, let me take a sip of my drink there. And then you've got Jack Nicholson. I grew up with that one. That one I watched when I was a kid over and over and over and over. And then the animated series with, oh my God, why can't I remember his name?
You mean Luke Skywalker?
Errane. Yes. Mark Hamill.
Yes.
Thank you. Oh my God. I follow him on Twitter too. So you would think that I would have known that name. That one I grew up watching as well. And then when the Dark Knight series started and everything, and they said that Heath Ledger was going to be the Joker, I was like super excited, but also kind of scared. Like, do I really want to see one of my favorite actors be that crazy? And I think he did an amazing job.
Nah, he's overrated. He was garbage.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Do you want me to do mine next, Aaron, or you want to do yours?
I mean, I'm.
Let's leave Aaron for last because Joker's his favorite, and he's going to go for like 20 minutes.
No,
right, so
Joker's not my favorite.
So let's just leave Aaron for last.
If you listen to my top 5 villains episode, you would know that Harley Quinn is my favorite.
Yes.
Harley Quinn, yes, second favorite. Damn it.
All I'm saying is that Joker's
it.
my second favorite. I thought you were a fan of the show before this. Why did we?
It's
bring
close. It was close though.
That and I'm one of your friends. And before I even listened to the episode and I saw that it was top 5 DC villains, I was like, oh, so Aaron's list starts with Harley and the second one's Joker.
It's
like
real
I knew
easy.
before you even said them. Like,
everybody
else
knows those are like my top 2 in that department. That's real simple. I just like giving you crap. All right, Steve, you should go. I'm gonna rant. Everybody knows it. I mean, I think people have just come to be used to it, right? I've got to sit on my pedestal forever, so I can't shut up.
Yeah. So again, I'm starting at the bottom of the top 20 ranked based on viewers, and working my way up. Actually, it's most of the time it's roughly in the same, and I'm only going to do the ones I've seen. So Jared Leto again is my bottom, just because again I don't feel he was given the screen time. I think his Joker would have been cool because it was so different. It's just he appeared on screen for maybe 10 minutes in a really shitty movie. It's hard to do well.
You guys are just vicious. I might have just broken my chair.
And then I would say Troy Baker is probably next, who played him in Batman Unlimited, and then Assault on Arkham. And then Zach Galifianakis from the Lego Batman movie. I thought he was...
I forgot about him. I've seen that one too.
Cesar Romero. I thought he was... For how comedic the original Batman TV show was, I thought Cesar Romero was genius.
Go figure the old guy has an opinion on the old Adam West.
The old movie? Of course.
Not movie, TV show. Adam West.
Yeah, the TV. Well,
yeah. I'm not saying he wasn't in the movie, but
my mom wasn't even born yet when this came out.
This is when they did the BAM.
I wasn't born when they came out, but I watched them.
Right, and all it's good stuff. Adam West was a golden god. I'm just saying.
And then I actually would put Mark Hamill as my next one.
Blasphemous.
Just because I didn't watch enough.
Blasphemy.
I didn't watch enough of the. I know. I did not watch enough of the animated series to have him higher.
Communist. That's what
unfortunately.
You are. You're a communist.
It's totally. I'm a
Get
total
out of
communist.
here.
And then I would put Jack Nicholson as my third. And then, honestly, I can't decide between Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix.
I need you to expound upon that right now, because that's what this is
why?
about. That's what this is.
I know it is. So, as I randomly hit the mic, so I apologize if my sound different to the people. My mic decided to die mid-recording. So I am now on a different mic that I'm making work, and I will hit it because it's on a headset and I'm not used to it. Without ruining the new movie, The Joker, Joaquin Phoenix acting and portrayal in that role and what it's doing as an origin story is incredible. There's a lot of people that have issue with the movie, but I am not one of them. I absolutely loved it. The problem is I absolutely loved Heath Ledger as the Joker in that movie. The way he played him, he stole every scene he was in that movie. He was the only reason I wanted to watch it, and the more I learned about him in that role and how dark he truly went with it, it is super impressive. And my understanding is Joaquin Phoenix did the exact same thing, and it's just I can't right now. I can't. I think I need more time to truly separate and decide between
Keep
1 and 2.
sucking the penis of a
Right now they're 1 and
pop
1A.
culture freaking. Go for it. Just keep on sucking, buddy.
In this case, I have to. Like, I don't know. I don't know how.
Wow.
Oh crap! I did it again. I don't know how to explain it. I apologize. I will try and edit that out.
Do you want to talk for 10 minutes about your mic situations again, so you can explain your disruptions?
No. But I don't know how else to convey to me that they're 1 and 1A right now. I can't differentiate. I'm gonna need time. Who knows? In like 3 or 6 months, when I've watched Joker a few more times and I get more nuanced into it. Like, I've watched The Dark Knight quite a few times, and so I get all nuances. My initial impression is right now they're tied. I just can't tell them apart. So yeah.
Tied.
All right, go Errane.
What a cop out.
Oh no. Oh
All
no.
right, so let's talk Joker.
No.
In your list, you have 20 different Jokers here in this list that we've got. In the one that I have pulled up, there's quite a bit too, probably all the same 20. I like yours better because it gives us kind of who they are, what they when they played these roles. I'll be honest with you, just to give credit to some of these, the New Adventures of Batman 1977, Lenny Winrib, I've never seen any of that. The Brave and the Bold stuff and Scooby-Doo and Batman, Brave and the Bold with Jeff Bennett, never seen any of that. The Return of the Caped Crusaders, Batman vs. Two-Face with Jeff Bergman, never seen any of that. The Christopher Corey Smith, never seen any of their work, and Jason Spizak, and they did a lot of the Lego ones outside of the movie, right? Richard Epcar, although Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe was cool and so was Injustice, I actually don't know much about this Joker. I will tell you that Larry Storch being the last one of the Jokers, I don't know anything about. The rest of them I do. The other 12. So or 13. Oh god. Anyway, so and then Larry Storch being the last one, the Adventures of Batman 68 to 70. These cartoons and video game representations, I'm not hating on them, because obviously I'm going to defend Anthony Ingruber and Troy Baker and their parts that they've played in things with video games. I think is important, and I think the video game storytelling's gotten a lot better. So I don't want to discredit those people. I'm sure that they played their own Jokers in their own way. But if I want to talk about influence and where that's at, I think that just for me personally, I have to get rid of them off of the list. But I did want to give credit. The one Joker that they have in this top 13 list. So the way they've got them, and I'm sure Steve will share this in the link in our show notes, just so people can kind of see the list that we're referencing. Jared Leto sits at 13. So of these top 13 that I know of, Jared Leto sits at that 13th level. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with either of you about Jared Leto. I think that you're wrong. That's just how I feel about it. I think somebody like Cesar Romero is worse than Jared Leto. Blasphemy, I know, but I don't care. It's just corny and cheesy, and I watched it as a kid, the reruns of that show, and I just was never, I don't know. But I want to discuss that. So I'm going to break that down. Of course, I'm going to go into a monologue on it. I do want to say that in this list at number 6, they have Cameron Monaghan. If I'm not mistaken, this is the guy who played in Shameless. I want to say he was in Shameless. I could be wrong. Gotham is a show that I've seen 2 episodes of, the first and the second episode. I never got a chance to see this guy. Apparently, he's actually pretty incredible. In fact, in the Gotham show, I've heard that a lot of the characters that play the villains are quite amazing, that you get some really, really good characters. So Gotham's a show I need to do my homework on and get to. So eventually one day. I will say
that is the kid from Shameless.
it is.
By the
Okay,
way.
fantastic. Yeah, so
You were
he
right.
is
It is.
he's amazing in Shameless. So I can only imagine.
I agree. He's probably one of my favorites.
Exactly, right? Like his character role, his changes through Shameless are pretty fantastic. Just to knock a couple of these other ones down. Kevin Michael Richardson's Joker, I don't like that version of Joker with the whole dreadlocks Joker. I'm just not a fan of it. I didn't like it when I saw it. I'm not big into it. Michael Emerson's Joker for the Dark Knight Returns stuff, not bad, just not one of my favorites. Troy Baker's actually an incredible voice actor. He does great things. I think his Joker isn't bad. It's definitely not in my top 5, which is what I'm trying to break down. I want to get to that. John DiMaggio's Joker actually isn't bad. I saw him in the Under the Red Hood. It's not a bad Joker. But again, it's not a top 5 Joker. Cesar Romero, classic Joker, not a top 5 Joker. I don't think that he deserves that credit. Just because he played in an old show. That doesn't excuse his lack of really depth or anything. It's just campy and corny. However, if I was to put him in the department of best Jokers based on the Detective Batman comics, as Batman is a detective and not the Dark Knight that we got from Frank Miller, then yeah, maybe Cesar Romero makes it, because there's very few, and that version of Batman sucks. So there you go. You get the worst villains out of the worst version of Batman. You get the worst version of the villains. Given that's where they come from, I don't care. I like the Dark Knight versions and beyond, and what's come from the darker versions of Batman. If I wanted a second Superman, then I would go back to watching Detective Batman. And I don't. So.
But you hate Superman, so you don't ever
Exactly.
want that.
That's precisely it. Sid gets it. Steve doesn't, because he gave Cesar Romero all the credit in the world, but that's fine. Anyway.
It's nostalgia. It's the same reason we put the
Just
Star
because you're
Wars
old?
original trilogy.
No. So let's talk about that for a second. No, I don't want to go on that rant. No, those are different categories. I just want you to.
No.
You should slap yourself. You should slap
I'm
yourself.
intentionally trying to trigger you.
Anthony Ingruber, that Telltale series is actually really good. That Joker's really cool. It's not a top 5 Joker, but it is very interesting. I think the Telltale stuff is really cool. Again, that's a version of video games. It's more like story based. Oh, what am I at? So now what? I've got Heath Ledger, Joaquin Phoenix, Mark Hamill, Jack Nicholson. So that's 4. I've got Zach Galifianakis, and Jared Leto. So I've got 6. So Zach Galifianakis clearly is number 1. I think he is the best Joker that we've ever had. Of all time. No, of course he's number 6. Although Lego Batman is so good. It's really hard to kind of put him there. And it's tough because actually for nostalgia reasons, Jack Nicholson is up there, but also for acting, I'm gonna break that up. Anyway, Zach Galifianakis is number 6 for me. That's where he sits. This is where this becomes difficult for me, is talking about these top 5. I will just go ahead and ruin it. I am going to do a discussion on who I think is better between Joaquin Phoenix and Heath Ledger, but neither of them are my favorite Joker of all time, and never will be. Mark Hamill is the Joker. He always will be the Joker. There has never been a better Joker. There never will be a better Joker. His laugh is iconic. His ability to play the character within the role, not recreating him, has been amazing. When they redid Alan Moore's, or when they decided to do the animated version of Alan Moore's The Killing Joke, Mark Hamill came out of retirement of playing Joker just to be Joker in The Killing Joke, and he did outstanding. That was an outstanding rendition of The Killing Joke. It was 2016 that happened, and since then he now is in the Justice League action stuff, which makes me just peachy keen happy. Mark Hamill is Joker. I'm sorry, there is no better Joker, and that's not even just nostalgia. That's just, I have rewatched everything about that, and there is a bit of bias here because that's where Harley Quinn comes from, is the Batman Adventures animated series. I get that, but I hate Luke Skywalker. I love Mark Hamill as the Joker. He's just better, right? And so I'm not arguing if Heath Ledger or Joaquin Phoenix are the best Joker, but I do think that it is a better argument to decide which one of them are better with each other, and I'll explain that in a second. Of course, this rant's fun, right? You guys are having a good time.
Yeah, I'm actually enjoying
So, so fourth and fifth is now dependent on Jared Leto and Jack Nicholson. So I will say that it would be foolish for me to say that Jack Nicholson or Jared Leto put on a better show than Joaquin Phoenix or Heath Ledger. I will say that if I was to compare more traditional roles of what the Joker is, I think Jack Nicholson hit the comic book character on the head. When he pulls a long pistol from his jacket, when he does the most bizarre dance in the middle of like Gotham, like everything that he is, everything that Jack Nicholson's a fantastic actor as well on top of that, but being directed by the King of Dark. What's his who did that Batman with anyway, doesn't matter. I'll get there. Because he also did the one with Catwoman, the best version of Catwoman that's ever been put on the big screen. Halle Berry is not it, and Anne Hathaway is not either. It just isn't. That's the best has always been God. Anyway,
So Tim Burton. I was just
Tim
gonna say.
Tim Burton. Thank you, Tim Burton. That's who I was trying to get to.
And then I was gonna.
You wanted to say something?
And I agree with you on the Catwoman.
So before you go
Michelle Pfeiffer.
too crazy into your rant, because I already know you're going to be going for a while. What do you think about Zoe Kravitz being cast as Catwoman?
What else? I've seen Zoe Kravitz and stuff.
Yeah, she's done quite a few.
Isn't
different
she
roles.
Amazing?
I think
Isn't
she's
she good?
I think she's a really good actress. Yes.
She's really
Yeah,
good.
so I'm down, dude. That sounds killer.
And they've cast the Riddler as well, and I'm actually super excited about who the Riddler is.
Who did they cast as the Riddler?
His last name's Dano, Dano. He, I'm trying to think of the movie he was in.
The boy Dano.
Paul Dano is who it is. His name.
Paulie.
I'm trying to think of what else he was in that you would have seen. Do you remember the movie where
You interrupted me to talk about stuff that you don't have information on.
I wasn't expecting to talk about it? But do you remember the movie where Hugh Jackman plays the father whose daughter was kidnapped? I don't even know if you've seen it. And then he locks up.
Hey, I want to discuss
the guy?
donut bakeries in the 1930s. I hate to interrupt your point because I know you're going to go on for a while about it. But if you ask me any questions, I don't have answers, and I don't expect to talk about it, but it's what I brought up when I interrupted you.
I am searching it right now, trying to get you what he's been in, okay? But he's going to be the Riddler in the new Batman.
So you claim that you were excited Paul Dano's playing the Riddler, but you have no idea off the top of your head what he's been in?
You know, I don't recognize him, but I've seen a lot of these movies that he was supposedly in.
He's the creepy kid.
And I don't recognize him at all.
Okay, did you watch Little Miss Sunshine?
I have never seen that.
No.
Oh
that
my
was
God.
one I have not.
No way. It's the mother effing tripod. He's in The Girl Next Door. I know who this is. Is he not in The Girl Next Door? Am I wrong?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
He's
He
also
is.
in the one where he takes he's a killer.
Yeah,
And he
kidnaps
takes the place of people. He takes their identities and he just whistles as he leaves. Dude, that movie's really good. What's that called? Taking Lives, dude.
Yeah.
This-
No, he is insanely good casting. Like, I am actually really excited for this Batman.
Yeah, so all I need to do is see this guy. Oh, he's great in Swiss Army Man. Swiss Army Man's fantastic. That's a good movie. If you guys haven't seen Swiss Army Man, it's fantastic. But I know him specifically from The Girl Next Door. Because he says he's the one who says he shows his Peter. Not he doesn't actually, but the whole premise of it. If you've never seen The Girl Next Door, it's a fantastic movie. But Taking Lives lets me know he could be Riddler.
And what's really interesting about it is he's not playing Edward Nygma. He's playing Edward Nashton, the original.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
I'm excited about that. I like that guy. I think he's amazing.
Yeah. So, yeah, sorry. Okay, back to your list.
No, you're good. So, yeah, back to 4 and 5. So, I think that Jack Nicholson takes my number 4 spot. I think he always will. but I don't think Jared Leto deserves the hate he received. I personally have vouched for Jared Leto many times. I don't think he was in a crappy movie. I think he was in a subpar movie. I don't think that. I've said this many times. Suicide Squad's not a terrible movie. It's not a good movie though. I've rewatched it a couple times, which means more so than other movies I'd never rewatched. But I'm never excited because the Enchantress was done so poorly. And I'll say it once and I'll say it again, and this is going to go into my argument. What makes a good hero? A good villain. In Suicide Squad, you really need a really, really good villain because the premise is villains acting almost somewhat heroic. And so Margot Robbie killed it. I don't think that Will Smith was a bad Deadshot, although people say he is. I think Jared Leto was a fantastic, fantastic Joker. And I don't need more screen time to see that. And that's why I think that's a BS response to their excuses that you gave. But you're fair to give it because I will also counter it that same response with, yes, he was robbed of more screen time. He deserved more screen time, but I didn't need more screen time to know that he was a good Joker. I thought Jared Leto was fantastic, and I think he received really, really unnecessary hate. But to each their own. They each have their opinion. Even
I do agree with you that it was unnecessary hate.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't hate him as the Joker. He just wasn't my favorite.
I don't think he should be anybody's favorite. I don't think Jared Leto's a top 3 performance. But for me,
I also agree with you about the Suicide Squad movie as well. I've rewatched it a couple times just out of pure entertainment, but it's not
I've
my
rewatched
favorite
it a few
movie.
times too.
Steve, you've said your piece. You're done.
No, I still think it was a crappy movie, but I've rewatched it a few times.
Notice how I've done more talking in this time, and he immediately jumps on me.
Of course, I love it. Yeah, no, thank
You're welcome.
You're American.
I do think that
that's fair.
I do think that the Cameron Monaghan, if I would watch Gotham, I'd probably end up liking what he's doing. I think that we're going to get to now 2 and 3. So between Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix, let's discuss that. So the reason was it Christopher Nolan that was doing that Batman series, right?
Yes.
And it was who was playing Batman? He was in Equilibrium.
Christian Bale.
Yeah, Christian Bale. Thank you. So Christian Bale's Batman. Christian Bale wasn't a bad Batman. He wasn't a bad Bruce Wayne either. I do think I had this discussion with Ty a lot where we talk about how actors like Michael Keaton made an excellent Bruce Wayne. He didn't make like the best Batman, right? Like I think that sometimes you get actors who play really, really. Now he was a good Batman. I don't want to. If we're not discussing the best Batmans of all time, but Michael Keaton's incredible. But I will say
you can do that in the next episode.
Yeah, he makes a better Birdman or a better Vulture than he did a Batman. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Fair.
I would agree with you.
So, Michael Keaton, great. When we talk about Christian Bale and what he did, Christian Bale already had a pretty good following. I mean, obviously, Batman Begins was good enough to where they were able to get the trilogy, going, right? They made enough money to where they could make the second movie. When they announced Heath Ledger, I was really big on Heath Ledger. I think by that time he had already played in 10 Things I Hate About You, and he had already
A Knight's
Tale. A Knight's Tale is one of my favorite movies he's ever been in. Simply because, it's one of the most enjoyable movies I've still ever seen to date.
It's called A Lance. Hello.
Too.
Yeah, exactly. Right. The comedy in the movie is fantastic. It's well on point, and my gamer name is Thatcher Van Telecus for most games, and it comes from William Thatcher, which is the character that Heath Ledger played in A Knight's Tale. So very, very, very excited about Heath Ledger. He wasn't like, whereas like Leonardo DiCaprio for me, I didn't like Leonardo DiCaprio until I saw him in Catch Me If You Can. That was the moment that Leonardo DiCaprio became an actor that I wanted to watch more. It wasn't Titanic. I laughed when he died. Jack died, mainly because the other
spoilers.
Yeah, right. Mainly because when she's like, Jack, I'll never let go, and then she lets go, I laughed. I almost got kicked out of the theater. It was bad. So
I was room. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I was
There
cracking up.
room.
I was like, she let go. She said she'd never let go, and I'm like laughing. And I was a disrespectful little, crap of a kid. So, and I was like in 6th grade when Titanic came out, and most of the girls had seen it like 12 times in theaters. It was ridiculous. And so I finally went and saw it with some family, and like I said, they almost escorted me out for laughing. So anyway, doesn't matter. Heath Ledger, I was stoked about Heath Ledger. I was not stoked that he was playing the Joker. I had Mark Hamill to compare him to, not Jack Nicholson, I guess, like a lot of people did. I thought Jack Nicholson was incredible, and I get that comparing him to a live action performance is more applicable. But I thought that for me, I needed to see something new and interesting, or I just needed to see something interesting. And he delivered on that. Not only did he deliver on that, him and Christopher Nolan created a Joker. And this is where this becomes difficult. Heath Ledger didn't play Joker. This is why this becomes a problematic discussion. And this is why Joaquin Phoenix is in the same category. And this is why neither of them are my favorite Joker, because Mark Hamill played Joker. Heath Ledger didn't play Joker. Heath Ledger created a Joker. Joaquin Phoenix, because Heath Ledger exists, everybody who plays Joker afterwards has to create a Joker. Nobody can no longer be Joker. And that to me is disappointing. And that to me hurts my feelings, because Joker was just fine the way he was. However, I don't want that to be something that I can just cop out of to say that, oh, well, they're not Jokers, so they don't. No, they clearly were. They played the Joker. They played a version of the Joker they felt was necessary. Heath Ledger and the things that he did were pretty incredible. And I've rewatched it, and I think that, Steve, you made mention that when you watch The Dark Knight and you see Joker, he steals a scene. Heath Ledger's Joker, I think that's 100% true. I think that Heath Ledger did such an amazing job that he kind of ruined the movie. And by that, I mean the movie was fantastic, but the only reason the movie was fantastic was because Heath Ledger's Joker, what him and Christopher Nolan created, was so overshadowing and overpowering that you created the best villain you could ever have for Batman. Which is good, because Joker should be the best villain that Batman ever faces. It's his biggest enemy. Like, Joker is it. He's always steps ahead, and I think we got to see a version of Joker that was that. We got to see Joker and Batman face off in a way that we needed. It was the Joker we needed, right? Which is corny because of the lines that we use in that very same movie about Batman, and Two-Face, which is the problem. The guy who played Two-Face, the dude from Thank You for Smoking and stuff like that, that's an incredible actor. And his portrayal of Harvey Dent was excellent. His portrayal of Two-Face when the conversion happens was also excellent. Joker's tie-in, that interesting backstory where now Joker is the cause of Harvey Dent's downfall and Two-Face, also very, very cool. But it weakened his position as a... Two-Face is not a cheap chump villain in Batman. Two-Face is a big deal. And he just wasn't Heath Ledger. And so I'll move now to Joaquin Phoenix. And I'm going to do the best I can to explain this without giving away. It would be much easier if I could give spoilers. I will warn everyone now that I will do my best, but I cannot promise that from right now, this point forward, I am not potentially going to spoil parts of the Joker. And I'm specifically talking about the newest movie with Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix walked into my heart. He Joaquimed into my heart in Gladiator, which, if nobody knows, Gladiator is my favorite movie of all time. It's been my favorite movie of all time since I saw it in theaters, and that has not changed. Joaquin Phoenix was amazing in that movie. When I heard he would be playing the Joker, and more specifically, I heard that now this Joker he gets to play is a solo new creation of an origin story that they wanted to do.
Possibly solo?
What's that?
Possibly solo. They've apparently come out and said they want to do
Oh
a
my!
movie.
I hope that doesn't happen. I really don't want that to happen, and I could talk about that I
No,
could talk
me
about
too.
that
I
in a
agree with you on that,
spoiler
too.
episode, not spoiler free. I wouldn't be able to go
Yeah.
spoiler free as to why I feel that way. So let's talk about Joaquin Phoenix. If at any point I say something that you think would ruin the movie, Sid, I need you to stop me. Okay?
Okay. It's gonna be difficult because I don't really care
Well,
if it gets ruined.
yeah, I know, but Steve can police me on knowing things. You can police me
I'll
on,
try
hey,
and-
that
yeah,
doesn't
I'll try and
sound like
police you.
something I would want to know if I didn't want the movie spoiled. So Joker, Heath Ledger's Joker plays a version of Joker that we see that is intelligent, very, very methodical in his thought, and kind of chaotic in nature. And he's looking to kind of break or prove that humanity is broken. Would you agree with that, Steve? Am I wrong there? Is that kind of correct, right?
I don't. The last part is the only thing I don't think he was actively trying to do. I don't think he was actively trying to prove that it was broken. I think it was more he was a product of it.
Well, I mean more
Was
because of
trying
the
to
boat
show
scene.
that it was.
Right, if you really
Okay.
unpack the boat scene, he put the ability to kill the entire other ship in the hands of the people. And that's more what I mean. I mean, he helped isolate the entire city of Gotham and then put a bunch of prisoners on one ship, a bunch of civilians on the other side. Or no, I guess isolating Gotham. Sorry, that's Bane. But in Joker's...
I totally didn't realize we were going back to Heath Ledger there. So that's where I was like,
Oh, no. I'm not talking about Joaquin Phoenix. I'm talking about Heath Ledger. So Heath Ledger's Joker...
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
no. Yeah, so Heath Ledger's Joker, I'm saying that's who I was explaining. So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So now we get to Joaquin Phoenix. Without giving anything away, Joaquin Phoenix's performance. So I always say, and I've said it many times, that a good hero can only exist with a good villain. Joaquin Phoenix performs in a way, he is performing as the villain. He's performing as Joker. That's, I don't know, man. It's this is really hard without spoilers. He is the center of attention. So we talk about Heath Ledger and the pieces of the puzzle that he plays. Batman is still very much a main character. Gordon is still very much a main character. Harvey Dent is still very much a main character. Heath Ledger does steal a lot of the show, but I'm not necessarily sure that was good for the movie. I think that the movie's great and it's very rewatchable because of it. And I'm not. His performance was obviously amazing and critically acclaimed for a reason. Joaquin Phoenix plays a character. He plays the Joker in a way that everybody else is just sideline. He is a solo act in a movie. And it is impressive. You want to talk about Jared Leto being screwed out of screen time. Joaquin Phoenix has it in abundance. That man has every scene to show you exactly who he is, what he's trying to do, and
I think that was the point.
And I loved it. And I thought that proved in a way that he kind of is better. And that's why Joaquin Phoenix is number 2 for me. I think that his performance was better than Heath Ledger's. Overall, I think
like not a cop out to my 1 and 1A thing. It's I could put either one in one, and that was where I was having.
See, and I don't feel that way. So here's what happened. I watched the Joker, and I kind of have to get off this because I want to break this down more. I really want to brag about Joaquin Phoenix, and I want to say things. I don't want to be that guy who spoils the movie for people, though. I don't want to be that guy because I think we could go on an entire spoiler episode. We did it with Endgame, but I don't want that to be what this is about. I do want to make a claim that later I will be happy to break down why I thought Joaquin Phoenix's Joker was better in detail. talking about the movie. And I don't know, Steve, we'll give that a little while, and then we'll come back to it. We'll just do it a segment. Like Errane explains his reasons.
I want to watch it again before.
So I will say that. So that's what I was getting to. To back on Steve's point. So I got out of the movie. I watched the Joker with my wife. Oh man, I almost went a full episode without talking about chess. I love talking about my wife. If people don't know that, I think I mentioned her in every episode. I don't think there's an episode I haven't mentioned her in. Oh well, screw it. I love her. I like talking about her. So Jess and we went and saw Joker. I walked out of the theater and I said, I think that was better than Heath Ledger. And then I bit my tongue and was like, no, Aaron, you can't say that. Because you really don't know. You just watched an amazing movie. And I just want that to be clear. Joaquin Phoenix's his portrayal of Joker is fantastic. It's the same reason that Steve has trouble between him and Heath Ledger. There's a reason for that. It's that good. It really is that good. But I couldn't just blindly say that and feel good about it. So Ty wanted to see the Joker. Obviously, who doesn't? So we went and saw it. So I got to see it in theaters again. I stood by my assessment. So to reiterate, Mark Hamill's number 1, always Bill B. Joaquin Phoenix is number 2, Heath Ledger's number 3. Who has Heath Ledger as number 3 Joker on their list? Nobody has that. And Jack Nicholson's number 4 and Jared Leto's number 5. And I'll say that again. Who has Jared Leto even in their top 5? Hardly anybody. So here we are.
Me, because I only know 5.
No, because you have Zach Galifianakis now, right? So yeah, you can throw Zach Galifianakis now above Jared Leto for the Lego Batman Joker. So yeah, after my long ass rant, which I'm sorry for, I'm not sorry. That's how I feel, and that's where I stand. And I would love for people to contact us and say otherwise.
Just tell me you hate me.
I love it.
I watched Lego Batman the other day.
Just tell me you hate
James
me.
loved
It's because it's so good. Lego Batman is...
Joker, I hate you. Oh, really? Oh, my God.
I saw Lego Batman, and I walked out of the theater and was like, is this the best Batman movie we've received? I have to think about it.
It was really well done.
Yeah, it's really, really good. Zach Galifianakis was an amazing Joker. I don't want to take that away from him. But that's why he's my number 6. He's above everybody. All those other people I mentioned, well, half of them I respect a lot. And so I want to make that clear. Like, Zach Galifianakis being number 6 for me. Joker is a big deal. So yeah, anyway, that is what it is. But that's my list.
So just as we're wrapping up on it, the interesting thing about this movie is Warner Brothers didn't want to finance it themselves. They thought it was too big of a risk.
Because it was rated R, right?
Yeah, and they weren't sure after Suicide Squad how well it would be accepted, especially because it was a total standalone. So they split production costs with 2 other production companies for this movie. So they're only going to get a third of the profits because it was a full 33 and a third across the board.
It was amazing. I really hope, based on the end was perfect. I think that this movie doesn't need any more.
Yeah.
The ending is so good. Oh my God. I want to talk about it so bad.
I want to talk to you about it too, because there's things that this is why I want to watch it again before we talk about it, is there's things I think I noticed that I want to know if what I noticed was true, because if it is, it totally changes my entire perception of the movie and makes the movie even better.
Maybe Rob and I'll have a date night and go see it.
It would be worth it if you could have his mom watch.
Well, maybe we'll do a double feature. We'll go see that, and then we'll go see Zombieland
too. Oh my God, when does that come out?
Why not?
It's been out for like a week.
Oh my God, I can't wait. I need to see that movie.
Double tap.
Zombies eat. How is she alive? Zombies eat brains. She doesn't have any.
God, I love Woody Harrelson.
So good.
I love Woody Harrelson so much, and Emma Stone. God, I'm so excited.
I don't like the other guys.
I'm super excited.
I could live without him, but
Eisenberg.
But he's good in Zombieland, so he can stay there.
Yeah. Well, apparently the reason it took so long to get a sequel for Zombieland is because Deadpool did so well, according to Jesse Eisenberg.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he came out and he was like, Deadpool.
Why? How?
They decided to make Deadpool instead of making Zombieland.
Well, it's a good thing they did.
I don't know. I didn't read the entire article, but that was the headline. It was just like, all right.
Isn't he supposed to play Lex Luthor?
He was Lex Luthor.
He was.
And he was awful. Eisenberg was terrible. You want to talk about worst Lex Luthors? We could do that list. Eisenberg is the worst Lex Luthor. He is an unconvincing.
Kevin Spacey's. Was it Kevin
Kevin
Spacey?
Spacey's was great. And I know that's hard to say
it was
now
Kevin
because
Spacey.
he's obviously, not a great guy, but
I can respect somebody's work because their personal life has nothing to do with
everybody still loves Tom Cruise, and that guy's crazy. He's a freaking Scientologist.
That dude's an asshole.
Yeah, he really is, but he.
Excuse my language, but that dude is an asshole.
Said the F word earlier, so
I have friends that were on the carrier that he just filmed for Top Gun 2 on. And they were all like, yeah, he had all kinds of rules. Like, you couldn't talk to him. You couldn't look at him. You couldn't do anything. If he was walking through the halls, you had to get out of his way. Like, gangway was really a thing. And I was like, this is fucking bullshit. Excuse my language.
It's not like there's a lot of room on a carrier either when you're in like a hallway.
I mean, does Tom Cruise take up a lot of room? He's like a midget. Oh, crap. That's not the right word.
He's only like 5'3". Like, I think I'm taller than he is.
Like a little guy, isn't he? That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. There's like Michael Jackson is another example. I absolutely love his music. Nothing's going to change that. I love his music. What he did was genius.
King of Pop. There's an amazing stand-up. Have you watched Dave Chappelle's most recent stand-up?
No, I haven't watched his most recent one yet.
Well,
I want to.
Just remember that you mentioned Michael Jackson when you watch it, because it'll make this moment even funnier. It's amazing. I laughed a lot. Dave Chappelle still got it. All I'm saying is that dude's still funny. So
yeah.
And that special is amazing. It's probably it's good. You should check it out. Everybody should check it out. We're not endorsed by Dave Chappelle because we're poor people, but Dave Chappelle's hilarious in his new Netflix special. It's not really new much anymore, but I think it came out this year. Either way, it's really good.
It's a couple months ago. So, it's really not that
newer.
old. Yeah.
There we go. And also go see The Joker because it's fantastic. I do.
Yes. Yeah. 100% agree with that.
I do want to make a few comments before we kind of wrap it up.
Of course.
I just wanted to tell everybody, Steve and I and Sid are going to be working. I've got a friend. If you guys listen to the D&D episode, Joe, him and I are working on a surprise for the show that Sid and Steve don't know about. And we are also, Steve, Sid, and I are going to be working together on Discord, or not. Oh, well, we will be working on Discord, but to get our Patreon set up better. I don't think that the price points are kind of where we want them because we're kind of still trying to figure things out. But as we grow, we want to make sure that we have those kind of outlets to kind of help us produce better. As you see, like Steve's mic is kind of screwed up and my computer fried a bit ago, so I lost a lot of data there. We don't want those things to happen, so we're going to start kind of getting our Patreon going. Obviously, that's not a requirement for contribution or whatever. It's just if you feel like you want to help the show grow or whatever. The best way right now is to seriously, I know that we always announce kind of our social media outlets and stuff, but really just sharing the podcast is all I'm asking. It would be great if people could share the podcast, share it with your friends, share it with your family. I don't know. We try to keep it pretty PG, so it's pretty family friendly. That's the goal. So we try to advertise as such.
I haven't been out of the Navy long enough to promise anything.
Well, if you listen to the first couple episodes, those are degenerate episodes where I am not a classy person. Either way, but yeah, those are things that are coming for the show. I think it's really exciting. We've got a lot of going on.
You mean you've grown?
Yeah, a little bit. It was my idea to become a more family-friendly show.
Dragging and kicking and streaming.
Kicking and streaming. And so we've got a couple surprises coming. I think that some people would really, really enjoy that really embrace the geeky kind of big deal, which I'll be talking about with my showmates here soon. So I'm just kind of rattling this off and surprising everyone. So Steve, tell them how to reach us.
I am at CanYouGeek on Twitter. Errane is at Southam Designs on Twitter. Sid is at Sid
I
Stare.
have a name
We
now.
do have a name. The show is Can You Geek Podcast on Facebook. We have a Facebook group, Can You Geek Nerds. And Patreon is, I looked, it's actually just at Can You Geek. It's not at Can You Geek Podcast. So I have been saying that wrong for 26 episodes. And we'll be correcting it
Oh,
now.
wow. About dang
Oh,
time.
I know.
Yeah, seriously. Get your crap together, man.
So
He's sorry.
I'm very sorry, eh?
He's sorry.
Let's go oot and a boot.
Gotcha, no. Oh, Steven's trying to just make us feel better. Oh, everything's gonna be okie dokie.
Oh god. Alright. On that note, later nerds.
Later, nerds.
Later, nerds.
Today's music is used by permission from the artist Broke for Free. The song is called Something Elated. You can find it on freemusicarchive.org